So good morning. I would like to give you a little assistance on Pod 19.1, mostly because we have not had much geometry yet this year, and you need to know some basic things about circles. So you are looking at this diagram on your pod, and I could call this circle Circle D. Why? Because the center point of the circle has a letter D on it, and by definition, a circle is I don't know, I guess a line that's always equal distance around a center point. Now there's some really important lines that you need to know the names of when we are dealing with a circle. First of all, the blue line that goes all the way around the circle, that would be called the circumference of the circle. And when I have a straight line that touches either end, like A and B, and must go through that center point, that has a couple of different names. I would call that the diameter of a circle. Any diameter that you could see in a circle would be able to cut that circle completely in half. It is also, by definition, a chord. A chord is a line from edge to edge. And so that chord AB, it would be segment AB, would be a chord of the circle. Now sometimes in some circles you can see a really funky chord, perhaps maybe like this. I could add any kind of chord like this right here. I could give this little point here a point named E. And so another chord would actually be segment BE. Why? Because it touches two edges of the circle. So sometimes they're nice and straight across, touching end to end. Sometimes a chord can look a little bit more diagonal in a circle. Now, half of a diameter, the diameter of the circle is segment AB as well, like we just said. And if I were to take half of a diameter, I have a line that's called radius. So I see several radii, plural, in the circle. One radius that I see is segment DB. It goes from the center point out to one of the edges of the circle. Do you see other segments that could be a radius as well? I could have DC or DA. All of those segments start in the center and go to the edge. So we have several radii in this circle. Now we also have certain kinds of angles. That angles can be named and angles can be measured. So my number 2 question on my pod says, what kind of angle is angle ADB? Now, what are we talking about when we're trying to find angle ADB? Well, angles are always oftentimes named by the points that they make, with the letter in the middle always being the middle of the angle. We're called the vertex, actually. So if I try to find ADB, what angle am I talking about? The one that I'm kind of looping in red. And what is that angle? Well, look at what kind of line it creates. It creates a straight line. So what kind of angle is angle ADB? It is a straight angle. And some of you might know, number 3, what is the measurement of angle ADB? Well, if I were to take a protractor and measure it, angles are measured with so many degrees, not in temperature like we've just learned, but in certain just measurements of different angles. And what a straight line is, it is equal to 180 degrees. Now, what about number 4? What is the measurement of angle CDB? Do you see where that might be? I go find C, I look for D, and I look for B. Angle CDB is what I'm going to mark with this little brown square. That is an angle in that little corner where two segments, in this case, meet up. So what is the measurement of that? Well, if the whole red one is 180 and this little square represents like half of it, what is 1/2 of 80? It is 90 degrees. And that is also the name of that kind of angle, is a right angle, because it is 90 degrees. You can always test a 90-degree angle by just slipping in kind of a corner of a paper. And if that corner fits in perfectly, it's 90 degrees and can be considered a right angle. Also, when you see this little square in a corner, that's telling you that, trust us, it is a right angle. So you learned a little bit today just about the basic vocabulary that goes with a circle. The circumference of the circle, the diameter of a circle, the radius of a circle, and any kind of chord that touches end to end. You've learned about straight angles, right angles a little bit, and I hope that that helped you a little bit on Pod 19.1.